what his eyes reveal, the psychology of unspoken desire, and why it terrifies you more than words ever could. Have you ever felt it? That split second when the room goes quiet, not because anyone said anything, but because he looked at you and didn't look away. Not a stare, not a casual glance, something in between, something that felt like a secret passing between you. And instead of leaning into it, you question yourself. The truth about desire, we don't want to admit we've been taught that love is loud. That desire announces itself. That if someone wants you, they'll say it, text it, prove it, post it. But psychology tells a very different story. The human brain is wired to avoid rejection even more aggressively than it is wired to pursue connection. From an evolutionary standpoint, social rejection once meant exclusion from the tribe, and exclusion meant danger. So your nervous system treats rejection as a threat. There's a region in the brain called the anterior cingulate cortex. It activates when we experience social pain. The same neural pathways that light up during physical pain to your brain. Being rejected doesn't just hurt emotionally. It registers as a survival threat. Now think about that. If a man feels desire for you, especially desire that feels complicated, inconvenient, forbidden, or uncertain, his brain immediately begins a cost-benefit analysis. What if she doesn't feel the same? What if this ruins what we already have? What if I misread it? What if this changes everything? So what does he do? He hesitates. Not because he doesn't feel it, but because the risk of loss feels heavier than the hope of gain. Here's where it gets interesting. Words pass through the prefrontal cortex, the rational editing, socially appropriate part of the brain. By the time someone says, "I want you," that sentence has been filtered, adjusted, rehearsed, and approved. But the eyes operate on older wiring. They are deeply connected to the limbic system, the emotional brain, the part that reacts before logic has time to interfere. When someone looks at you with desire, their pupils dilate automatically. Their gaze lingers half a second too long. Micro-expressions flash across their face before they have time to suppress them. That moment when he looks at you and forgets to look away. That's not performance. That's the raw signal. And most of the time, that raw signal is more honest than any sentence he could construct, too. Why you feel it before he says that. Here's the part we rarely talk about. Women are exceptionally skilled at decoding nonverbal cues. Research consistently shows that women, on average, are more accurate at reading facial expressions, tone shifts, and subtle body language changes, not because women are magical, but because historically survival depended on reading the room. You feel the shift in energy. You notice the pause. You sense the tension when your eyes meet. And then you do something fascinating. You doubt yourself. You think, maybe I imagined it. Maybe he's just like that with everyone. Maybe I'm projecting. Why? Because if he says it, the responsibility is his. But if you see it before he speaks, then you're the one holding the truth. And that's uncomfortable. Because acknowledging unspoken desire forces you into awareness. If you admit you saw it, then you have to decide, do I lean into this? Do I ignore it? Do I protect my current life? Do I protect my heart? It's easier to wait for words. Words create structure. Words create clarity. Words give you something to respond to. But unspoken desire, it's fluid. It's alive. It requires emotional maturity to hold it without immediately acting on it. Here's something powerful to understand. Indifference doesn't look away quickly. Indifference doesn't get nervous. Indifference doesn't hold your gaze a fraction too long. If he avoids eye contact after a charged moment, that's not always disinterest. Sometimes it's internal conflict. If he suddenly checks his phone, shifts his posture, or becomes intensely interested in his drink, that's regulation. That's his nervous system trying to regain control. Desire that cannot be expressed often leaks through the eyes. And you feel it because your nervous system picks it up before your conscious mind does. That's not delusion. That's attunement. 3. The real question isn't about him. Let's shift the focus. The question isn't, does he want me? You already know. The real question is, what do you want? This is where emotional growth lives. You are allowed to want to be wanted. Let that sink in. You are allowed to feel the quiet thrill when someone's gaze lingers. You are allowed to replay the moment in your head. You are allowed to acknowledge the chemistry even if you never act on it. Desire itself is not betrayal. Desire itself is not wrongdoing. It's information. The mature move isn't pretending you didn't feel it. The mature move isn't acting impulsively either. The mature move is holding to truths at once. This is real, and this may not be right for my life. That's power. Emotional immaturity says, if I feel it, I must pursue it. Or if I can't pursue it, I must deny it. Emotional maturity says, I can feel this without letting it control me. You can see the desire, name it, and choose your alignment. Maybe you're committed. Maybe he is. Maybe timing is wrong. Maybe the risk is too high. Maybe the fantasy is stronger than the reality would ever be. Or maybe you're tired of living in almost. But here's the truth. Unspoken desire is not a promise. It's not a guarantee. It's not an obligation. It's not destiny knocking. It's a moment of shared vulnerability. To nervous systems recognizing each other. To people briefly unguarded. And sometimes that moment is all it was meant to be. You didn't imagine it. You weren't overanalyzing. You weren't projecting. You were reading the oldest language in the world. The language that existed before. Text, before labels, before relationship status, to people. One look. 1 second too long. The real story isn't the desire in his eyes. It's the desire in yours. So let me ask you something. Not about him. When you strip away the fantasy, the fear, the what ifs. What do you want for your life? Do you want safety? Do you want intensity? Do you want peace? Do you want risk? You don't need to rush. You don't need to confess. You don't need to disrupt anything today. But you do owe yourself honesty. If this message resonated with you, don't just scroll past it. Sit with it. Reflect on it. Share it with someone who understands the tension of unspoken things. And if you're building a mindset where awareness comes before impulse, where clarity comes before chaos, stay connected. Because awakening isn't about chasing every feeling. It's about understanding them and choosing consciously.